Over the past week, we've seen a lot of stories about the rich and famous billionaires selling their stocks. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for us as investors? I don't think it means much, and I'll tell you why. So let's take an example of a couple of them. Let's start with Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg sold $428 million of Meta stock, Facebook stock, and he was published all over in the news. But what does that mean? First of all, Facebook has gone up, increased in value almost 3x, almost 300% in the last year. So his stock has gone up quite a bit, and he sold $428 million, which makes up 0.25 or 1/4% of his $170 billion net worth. In other words, it was nothing for him. It wasn't him cashing out of Facebook and taking all of his chips off the table. It was him taking off some money so he can go and build another palace in Hawaii or whatever he does with his money. So it doesn't really mean much. It's not much for him. Jamie Dimon was another one that sold a bunch. He sold $150 million worth of JP Morgan stock, which he had been accumulating since 2009. He had been buying stock. So is the stock market overvalued? I don't know, but it's gone up the last year. Is this a signal that we should all be selling our stocks? Probably not, because comparatively, it's not much for those billionaires. The Gates Foundation sold stock. The Walton family sold $4.5 billion worth of their stock in Walmart. Is that a lot? Not considering that the Walmart family owns 45%, nearly half of all outstanding shares in Walmart. They own an enormous chunk. So for them to sell $4.5 billion, which is a lot of money to anybody, it's not much when you consider that's for their whole family foundation for the Walmarts to be selling that much. Another person that made headlines was Jeff Bezos. He sold $8.5 billion of Amazon, which was less than 10% of his holdings. Now that may sound like a lot, but consider that Bezos had not sold any of his holdings, any of his Amazon stock, for over 2 years because he was waiting to move from Washington State to Florida, where there's no state income tax. So when he sold in Florida, he saved $600 million by waiting to move to Florida and become a Florida resident, where he didn't have to pay that actually capital gains tax on that sale when he moved to Florida. So when we look at these people selling their stocks, they may make for salacious headlines because the numbers are so big, and the press likes to call them out and say, look at what the rich people are doing with their stocks. They're buying or they're selling. Maybe that's an indication of what we might want to do with our portfolio. Maybe it's an indication that the market is getting a little bit frothy. But more often than not, it doesn't mean anything. It is just noise. The best thing that we can do for our money in our portfolio is to stick to our plan, continue to dollar cost average, to pay down debt, to continue investing statistically. That's the best way to make money, is to dollar cost average, buy stocks, buy an index fund every time you get paid over time, and ignore what you see in the press. Ignore what Zuckerberg is doing. Ignore what Jeff Bezos is doing, and focus on what it means to you. What can you do with your money to continue to accumulate wealth by buying good, solid investments over time, no matter what anybody else is doing, especially no matter what is being pushed in the corporate press.